Hello, Fitzy. How are you?
I'm good, buddy.
Good, good. I got my times right this time. Last time, obviously,
Not bad. My wife said, "What the bloody hell is he doing up at this time in the morning?"
Well, I'm up before my kids, Fitzy, so this is quite good. 6 a.m. I can't complain. I've had the kettle on. I'm up. I'm awake, and the kids are still asleep.
Nice, isn't it?
Oh, it's a nice time of the day. It's a nice time of the day.
Yeah.
But it's kind of
you're in total darkness.
total darkness. So I've got all the lights, the camera, everything's set up. It's total darkness here. It's miserable at the moment. Very cold, wet, the usual.
Nice swimming.
Yeah, I'm swimming. Yeah, I've been in every day. Yes. I've been in every day in December so far. So I need to go in later. Just something. It's a little challenge I do in December. A lot of people do, obviously, but with the cold water, it's something that keeps me going through the dark months. And obviously, working the normal sort of 9 to 5 hours, you've got to do it in darkness as well. So it becomes it becomes a bit of a real challenge when you get home from work sometimes and it's pitch black. You've got the kids to bed. It's 10 o'clock at night, and you still got to go in the sea.
Shit. How far is it from your place?
Well, I'm lucky, Fitzy. Under 10 minutes, I'm on the beach, so I can run down.
Okay.
I can run down, take the dog, and I get it done. So, yeah. Oh, don't show me that.
That's not quite like that.
Fitzy, you're destroying me. That's a nice set. Where are you based in New Zealand?
We're just on the east coast, north of Auckland.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So you've got nice weather at the moment.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, no, it's good, mate. We're very lucky. Little COVID, everything's pretty normal. Yeah, mask wearing. That's about as tough as it gets.
Yeah, well, here, I mean, even yesterday, Glasgow versus Edinburgh was postponed. There was an outbreak in the Glasgow camp, so it's everywhere.
Harlequins were lucky to get their game underway. They were like shitting themselves.
Yeah,
because they had Marcus Smith got COVID earlier in the week, and then one of the support staff got it, and they got cleared literally yesterday morning before the game.
Yep, everything's on a knife edge, isn't it? It's a bit crazy that everything that's happened. We're obviously we're not in lockdown here, but what's around the corner? They're saying there's not going to be anything new announced before New Year, but you can imagine we've got kids going back to school next week. You know, so
and they're saying they can or not?
At the moment, yeah. At the moment, things are as normal.
Yeah.
But let's see what unfolds after the new year.
What about the Six Nations? Any talk of that?
I don't know. We're hoping that just rolls around and we get into the stadiums. Yeah. That's what we want. We want to get this. I don't know. Are they going to do a circuit breaker? Are they going to try and lock us down for a couple of weeks to keep the kids at home after the break? Who knows what they're going to do to try and get things back to a bit of normality, because it's very strange, and businesses are going to start struggling. Nightclubs are closed. The high streets are not empty, but Boxing Day sales are usually flooded with people.
Yeah.
I think all the news headlines at the moment is that yesterday and the last couple of days have been very quiet. Everyone a lot of people are staying at home. They're buying online, changing their habits. So the high street's suffering.
And are they? And what is this in terms of functions? How many people?
Oh, it's low hundreds. You can't go to I think you could have 500 people at the Edinburgh Glasgow game, but they didn't do that. They weren't going to allow any fans at all. But I think weddings, and it's different if you're sitting down or you're standing up. 100, 200 people is very, very small events.
Yeah, I've got a Bill McLaren. Dinner on the 25th of February, which I'm sure will be fine, but never know.
Where's that one? In Scotland?
In Edinburgh.
Yeah.
In Edinburgh.
25th. I was at one. Who was I? I got invited. Roy Lawson. It was a late call-up, I remember.
Yeah, Roy's.
It was this time last year, I think. Or no, it was just before COVID. So it would be 2020.
Yeah.
It was just before, I think Six Nations started and everything. I was doing an event or a charity thing for Doddie, and it was called the 4-4-48. Every 4 hours you run 4 miles for 48 hours.
Jesus.
So Rory messaged me and I got a late call up, and he says, Nashy, I think I'd bumped into him that week. He said, Nashy, Friday night, do you want to come along to the Preston Field? We've got a Bill McLaren I said, that'd be fantastic. He says, bring a mate. So I took one of my pals, Foxy, and we rock up and I'm in the middle of this event. So I've already done my first 4-hour run. Okay. And
4 hours.
Sorry, 4 mile run. I've done my first 4 mile run and my next one's in 4 hours. And then every 4 hours for the next 48 hours. So me and Foxy, my mate, we're all kilted up. We've turned up at this, at the Preston Field, and we look at the table plan and Rory's got us at the top table. So with John Smith, Darcy Graham's there, Tony Stanger's at our table. The table is an awesome table, but 3.5 hours into the event, I'm nudging Foxy saying, I've got to go. So I've got my training kit. So I've nipped out just as the auction started, changed into my training kit, run 4 miles, come back, put my kilt back on, and then sat back at the table. And Big John Smith's like, where have you been? And I told him, and then the word got round the table, and then Rory obviously found out. He's mentioned it on stage, so the fundraising all started, and the chat for Doddie and everything that we were doing at the time for fundraising, it all kicked off. So
fantastic!
It's quite an event, that Preston Field for the Bill McLaren.
Yeah, it's a good boy.
It'll be a good old time you'll have.
Okay, but any of the other guys got back to you? JK did.
Yeah, JK did. Sir John Kerwin, that was a nice email to receive. I put out another couple of emails, so no, there's not much, but by the time January 1st comes around, there'll be stacks of people for this podcast. We've got lots of people sort of up and coming and all sorts. That was a very kind email you put out to a few of the other All Blacks, and I was laughing to my wife. I was like, Abby, I'm in an email link, an email chat with quite a few All Black legends here. This is quite a cool.
And I threw an Aussie in there, so Phil Kearns and Philip Seller, just for to mix it up.
Well, say rugby legends then, not just All Blacks. But no, thank you for that, Sean. I really appreciate it. And
you've had DC on, Dan Carter on before, haven't you?
Not yet. No, I had correspondence with his agent and Dan himself, but no, not yet. So maybe one day we'll get to that one.
I just fucking honestly, if you just direct message him, you can direct message him, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just put my name, Fitzy. I've just done Fitzy on the podcast, so that you would love it. He'll come straight back to you.
I'll do that. I'll go to him. I'll try and get Dan. We've got so many events throughout the month for Doddie Aid, Sean.
Yeah.
We've got rowing events, we've got cycling events, there's stacks of stuff going on. So you coming on this early to rally the troops for the Barbarians, because this is the Barbarians podcast we're doing. And I'm hosting this, and there's other people hosting Edinburgh and all sorts. Glasgow.
Okay. So the Barbarians Rugby Club.
It's just called Team Barbarians. Gabby Logan's captain, Jim Hamilton's the manager, and there's stacks going on throughout the month. So it's all about.
Am I a player?
You're a Barbarian. Yeah, you're a Barbarian. You've got to rally the troops over in New Zealand and worldwide just to log their miles on the 1st of January, to download the app, get their snood. I've got an example of the snood here. Get your snood, get it on, and we're just trying to raise as much as we can from the 1st of January for the big man. Okay.
And this is by running?
Running, rowing, cycling.
Okay.
Anything.
Golfing?
If you're golfing, you put your log your miles while you're walking around the course. 100%.
Okay. So you got to download the app.
Download the app. You can go to doddieaid.com. You can go in the App Store, download the app, and then on the 1st of January, the app is good to go.
Okay, and so what's the app? Just tell me, then I can show it when I'm on here.
It'll be Doddie Aid. Doddie Aid. Download the app. Doddie Aid. This is brilliant. Doddie Aid, yeah.
Dodd Soft, Dodd Done, Dodd Dex, Doddie Aid. Doddie Aid.
Doddie Aid. Doddie. Okay. This is good. This is brilliant. We'll put this video out of Sean Fitzpatrick downloading the app live on the podcast.
With these sausages.
That's perfect.
Cool.
So when you get that, and then on the 1st of January, the app will come to life on the 1st of January, and then that's when you can you'll have already joined Team Barbarians, and we'll get you to chuck some stuff out over social media and all that sort of stuff.
There we go. All ready to sign up.
Okay. You've done it. Perfect.
I'm going to sign up now.
Good man.
Individual. Am I an individual?
And you'll find your team Barbarians. Yeah, you'll be an individual, and then you'll just join the Barbarians.
Okay, so I'll join that. Okay, mate. Okay. When's the podcast going out?
This will be going out. When will I do this? I'll do maybe the tail end of this week and early next week.
Okay.
But I'll put out some clips and bits and pieces of you downloading the app live, because that's
as we go. And now I'm registering. .com. Okay. Password. What do you reckon?
Doddie All Black or something like that. Doddie NZ.
Anyway, he would have been a great All Black, Doddie.
Yeah. Would he fit in that changing room?
He would be perfect. Okay, all signed up, ready to go. And what am I joining? The Barbarians, led by Gabby Logan.
That's it. Now, apparently Gabby and Kenny are coming on this podcast soon. So I had Jim Hamilton last week. So we've got Gabby and Kenny coming up at some point, and there'll be some good chat there from Kenny, I'm sure, for the old days.
Okay, perfect. All done.
You're on. Sean, what are your memories I know you played against Doddie.
Yeah, I think in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Was it early 90s, maybe? And the big man was very good. They had a pretty good team in those days. Even my early memories of playing Scotland were sort of, back in the 70s, really. And then to play the World Cup in 87 in that quarterfinal in Christchurch. And then we just had a mutual respect for each other, great rivalry, right through the 90s. Big Gav, 1990 should have beaten the All Blacks at Eden Park. The big man Wayne Shelford got dropped after that game without losing an international. That's how tough the All Blacks were in those days in terms of the selection policies. But no, and then Doddie's a little bit younger than me. But yeah, he was a good man. Had some good battles with Ian Jones. Yeah,
that's a pretty an interesting matchup, that Ian Jones, the sort of legendary player that he was. But Doddie, obviously, what he brought to the jersey and the way Bill McLaren would describe him and the way he would sort of romp about the pitch, a real interesting character.
He did just sort of rant, memories like that are fantastic. That's, being a retired, and I'm sure Doddie's the same. You remember those clashes that you had, but I think probably more off the field. It probably brings more memories. So, the battles we took lumps out of each other, but we always enjoyed ourselves afterwards. And that's, we're very similar in the way we approach rugby, the Kiwis and the Scots. And we enjoy it afterwards, no matter what happens on the field, it stays on the field, and enjoy a few beers and whatever afterwards.
You maybe can't tell me this, and it's maybe changed over the years, but is there an initiation for a first cap for the All Blacks? Is there singing songs or anything like that?
No, not really. We don't really. That's not our way in terms of initiations. But you don't. Now and even in my day, you wouldn't get to first base if you weren't the right sort of person.
Yeah.
And similar to Scotland, you're indoctrinated from a 5-year-old, really, in terms of what's expected of you as an All Black. And when you get in the team, you're learning off the old pros. That's the job of a person that's been there for a while, is to make sure that the young kids coming through knows what's expected of them. And we have such a good pathway through to the All Blacks now that we don't get any one test All Blacks. We get they know what's expected of them, and I suppose now, Nashy, with the advent of professionalism and the opportunities offshore, that's one of our big challenges is to keep our talent in New Zealand, which has been a real challenge financially. But there's not many guys that leave New Zealand if they're in the All Black team. Very few will chase the money if they have an opportunity to wear the All Black jersey, and that's our challenge really, is custodians of the jersey is to make sure that legacy continues.
Yeah, what did I see? Sam Kane recently, Corey Taylor, Joe Moody, all committed to the Blacks, and that rings true. Obviously, getting Captain Sam Kane committing.
Yeah, he has, and he's had injury issues, but he's a great leader of men. But I think it says a lot about New Zealand rugby too, in terms of the way they're looked after. I'm in New Zealand at the moment. This is a pretty good place to live and play your rugby. So being centrally contracted also that helps them. And there's opportunities to go to Japan during their time. Mackenzie's up there at the moment having a 5-6 month stint. Patrick Tuipulotu was up there at the moment having the same time, just to give them that cash injection that they're supposedly missing out on in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, and what about the players returning from the sort of autumn tests, Ireland and France game? You might not want to talk too much about them, but the All Blacks losing is rare. What is it like for the team coming back? What was the press like to the team after those?
I was here. We actually flew back, landed the same day as the All Blacks. Actually, we're funny, and I still love that we expect them to win every game. The All Blacks had a really difficult year this year in terms of COVID. Being in that bubble for 4 months basically from when they left here to finish off the championship. They had 3 to 4 weeks on the Gold Coast preparing to come to Europe because there was no point in coming back to New Zealand. So they're away from their families, and they introduced a lot of young players. Ian Foster, I think, did a really good job, but he's under the pump here, obviously, because we lost 2 games. But we're mid-cycle now, Nashy, and I'd rather lose those 2 games now. And they lost 2 very good teams in terms of Ireland, and I think France. I think we all recognise that they are a real threat come 2023 World Cup. A group of young guys, but it's better for us to have that experience now rather than have the experience in the semi-final against England like we did in 2019. And a lot of those players in 2019 hadn't experienced that type of pressure before. So, I'm sure Ian Foster's learned a lot about his players. He would have learned a lot about his coaching team. But that was a pretty amazing and special time that they've had together. They had 4 months together on the road. Mm-hmm. No outside influences, just purely within their little bubble, training, every day. So and getting to know each other, which I think is important. And so I'm really positive about the All Blacks going forward. You look at that Ireland game, and you even look at the French game. They could have won both those games if little things had happened. But in hindsight, it's probably better they didn't win those games.
It's always interesting what you mentioned there, looking at this cycle, because come 2023, if the All Blacks win the World Cup, these 2 games that they lost won't be talked about that much. They won't be. They won't be in the memory. But if you're peaking right now, if Ireland and France get the big win right now but don't perform, it's keeping the momentum going. So Ian Foster or Gregor Townsend, for us, they've got to be peaking at the right time at 2023.
Yeah. And let's not forget, this is the end of our season also. Mm-hmm. So that's not, that's the way it's going to be in 2023. So, we've got a big tour next year to Europe, and they'll take a bigger squad. They'll try and replicate, as they did a bit this year, replicate what that World Cup will be like in terms of the way it plays out. So I just think in terms of world rugby, everyone's getting smarter. I think we've got some great products in Europe in terms of the competitions that have been played. The quality of rugby in the Northern Hemisphere now is better than I think it's ever been. So it's all good for people like you and I who are enthusiasts and commentators and all those sort of things. I think the state of world rugby at the moment is really exciting. You look at the private equity that's coming into the game. All those sort of things is trying to make our game a better product. And as long as the players play their part, I'm sure the administrators, if they understand what we want as fans in terms of how we're going to consume sport and consume rugby, I think we're looking really good going forward.
And Fitzy, we've also got players able to transfer between unions now. I saw you did a tweet on that, sort of supporting the way. How do you see that impacting the game? And specifically, I think as you see the Pacific Islands, going to benefit.
I personally think it's long overdue. We should have done this a long time ago, Nashy. Players that, the Piatels of the world who left early. Charles left really early. And he should have been playing international rugby, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I'm really excited because those Tongan teams, that Samoan teams, the Fijians, they're going to be phenomenal. And that's what we want. There's some of these, Lamapi and those guys that leave early, have a couple of games to the All Blacks or a couple of games to Australia, or even Scotland or Ireland or anyone. At 28 years old, they should not be consigned to club rugby, because as we know, Test rugby is where the money's made, and we need to have competition. And to go to a World Cup, and this World Cup in 2023 could be quite amazing to see the strength that Tonga, Samoa, and Fiji, how those teams are going to be bolstered by quality international players of the past. Makes it exciting, and it's a better product, which is what we want.
You can't say that any of the Pacific Island teams are sort of, you've got the points in the bag before you play, but there's always a bit of, with Samoa, if you've got an All Blacks, you've got South Africa, Australia, you've got a Samoa and a Tonga, the Scotland, England, we're trying to win those games, we're trying to get those points. When that team is stacked, like you say, it is going to be a change of the guard. I mean, it's going to be...
I think a few of those coaches that thought they had quite an easy pull.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at it now and thinking, oh my God. But that's good. Nashy, that is so good. I loved, that's what I loved about 2019 with the Japanese. And, as fans, we want those upsets. We want the big boys to be pushed to the wire and sometimes beaten, which makes our sport exciting.
Yeah, and that's sport, isn't it? You don't want to have a foregone conclusion before the whistle goes. Absolutely. And Sean, yourself, obviously busy with Laureus Group, but also Whisper TV, you're on the board there. How are things in your world, and sort of obviously not on the pitch, but behind the mic and everything you're doing?
Yeah, I think a lot, I've said a couple of times, how we consume sport now. And I'm on an advisory board at Whisper. And the way we consume sport is so different. What we're doing now is different to what we were doing 2, 3, probably even 12 months ago. And that's where we need to be really proactive. And people like Whisper are creating content that we want to watch as fans, and the younger generation, whether it be rugby, cricket, baseball. All those sort of things need to be easy on the eye. And I think F1 have done a great job. I think, you look at somebody like Lewis Hamilton, who Whisper do a lot of work with. That content's fantastic. And it's only 1, 2, 3 minutes long. We did a series of Jersey Tales. I don't know if you saw those.
I watched yours last night. In preparation.
Which is just, as a person actually doing it, I loved it. It was like going down memory lane. But it was only 12 minutes long, which is I'm sure even yourself, Nashy, you enjoyed watching it.
Well, I did. Let's jump in there. The story of you walking into a bar and someone approached you that had your dad's original strip?
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that like?
His name's Alan Peterson. He's a Welshman. Lovely man, lovely family, and he's got a box at the Principality. And when Dad died, because Dad lost to the Welsh in '53, never saw that jersey and never even spoke about it, actually. And out of the blue, after Dad's passing, Alan found me at a pub, and just by chance, I walked in. He went, "Golly gosh, this is amazing." He said, "I got your father's jersey and I'd like to give it to you." which is just brilliant. And we've become very good friends, Bronny and I and his family. And he's got a box at the Principality, and he now has my jersey in the box instead of Dad's, and I have our jersey, tucked away in our box at Twickenham. So yeah, it's nice stories. Good rugby stories, Nashy.
Well, that's it. And what else was there? Obviously, a lot of Auckland strips. I think, was there a Barbarian strip?
The reason I loved it is it sort of took me back to the childhood. Back to the club I first played with. I played at College Rifles as a sort of 5-year-old. Thought I'd be a number 10 for about 5 minutes, and got thrown into the front row, to my disappointment. Then going to Sacred Heart College, which was, such a great grounding, playing first 15 rugby, which I absolutely loved. I think schoolboy rugby is some of the best rugby you can watch. And then, going to the university club was transformational for me. Just, turned me into I had a good time, I must say. Played with Gavin Hastings. That's the team that Gavin came and joined us after '87. We won multiple championships, and we had 4 All Blacks plus Gavin. So obviously we were going to win a few championships, and then the All Black jersey, and just all those lovely stories, the Barbarians jerseys, right through, and Francois Pienaar's jersey and '95. It's just such great memories. Brings a smile to my face, as you can see, Nashy.
Absolutely. I've got you off on a tangent here, but it's so good to see Whisper sort of coming. I know they're not sort of that new in the market, but they're doing little different things like that, and we're able to consume shorter segments now. Is that what you're really finding? The sort of 3 minutes to 12 minutes?
Most definitely. And how you watch it, whether it be on your phone or your laptop or your iPad. People don't want to sit in front of a TV for 2 hours before a game to watch the build-up. They're busy people now. Well, that's people say we're more busy now, but I just think we've got other things going on probably that we want to use our time for, whether it be family, children, business. I as much as I love the ITM Cup here in New Zealand, every Monday morning in the UK, I watch a clip of all the games in 10 minutes. Yeah, and I've got a great overview of what's happened.
Yeah, it's also we're busy because there is so much to consume.
There is. There's a lot going on down here at the moment with the cricket. I'm sure I don't even been watching that, but the Aussies are giving the English a good bashing at the moment.
I've not been following it, but I've seen the headlines. But it's like that. You could be watching the cricket and you could be engrossed in it, and your phone beeps. It's something that's come up that you weren't expecting. You then 10 minutes into that, you've missed what was going on in the cricket. The phone goes. It's amazing how you're pulled. Let alone human interaction with your family or friends, or you're supposed to be on the golf course.
I think my best day of sport as a fan was at Lord's for the one day final in 2019 or something, 2018 maybe. But my other daughter, my oldest daughter, she actually loves it. So her husband to be is English, so they was all sort of depressed, and then they came back and won it. But my other daughter's sitting there watching the tennis at Wimbledon on her phone. Yeah, and then flicking between that and the F1 at Silverstone. So you're talking about all these things going on. It's just absolutely brilliant.
If it's not at a rugby match, is cricket the next sport you love to go to? Or where else would you like to be? If it's Formula One, cricket, tennis, what
I actually like all sports. I love the darts.
Really?
I love the dart. That's fun.
Did you see
I like the entertainment around it. I like seeing happy people. And at the darts, it's a good blast.
Did you see the young Scottish lad recently that hit the 9-darter?
No.
Yeah,
what was his name?
I forget his name. I should really know it, but it was more the celebration. It was just.
Yeah, cool.
I'll send you a link to it. But it's just brilliant.
I love that. I like cricket. I like the T20. I like the 100 this year. And I funnily enough, I actually like Test cricket too. So, but we love tennis. I've got a table tennis table here, bit of that, bit of fishing, water skiing, whatever, Nashy. I get into everything. But I do love golf too. Golf's probably my, rugby and golf, my two big passions.
Yeah. And what about the Laureus group and everything you're doing there and your role? How's that environment looking for 2022?
We're pretty good. We're, obviously the pandemic's been really tough on our charities and our projects globally. But they've all done really well. All the kids have been safe and that sort of stuff. But our Sport for Good Foundation is in a really good place at the moment. We've got some outstanding people working for us, making a difference globally. So that's onwards and upwards. Unfortunately, we're going to have a virtual awards again, which we had last year. And I say unfortunately, with all these things around the pandemic, the world has sort of opened up in different ways. And the way we did it last year, we did it virtually last year, and this opened a whole new avenue of people that were consuming that sort of sport, an awards show. So. And a lot of our winners are very good on social media. So having a digital program, makes it easier for them to follow it. So that will be May this year. We'll have the awards. But yeah, I'm once you can see how much I love sport, and to be the chairman of Laureus is like a kid in a candy shop with all those great athletes, to tap into.
The roster of athletes connected with Laureus, it's second to none, is it not? It's an incredible lineup that you've got from across all sports and all around the world.
Yeah, we're very lucky, and to join the academy, you need to be retired, and the Chris Hoys of the world and those sort of people. Bend over backwards to do what they can for the Sport for Good Foundation, and then to be involved in selecting the current sports people of every year, which that's initially what we're set up for, is to celebrate excellence in sport. And we love doing it as past athletes.
Yeah, no, it's a cracking time. So when did you say you're going to be in Scotland? The 25th of February?
Yep, on the Friday, whatever that's, 25th of February, right, Friday night for the, yeah.
So how does your year look? So that's Scotland in February. Are you out and about all over the world throughout the year, or is it all pandemic?
No, not really. We're in New Zealand at the moment, and I'll come back that week from New Zealand. So that's sort of the start of that. And we've got the Six Nations, where I'm at Twickenham on the Saturday for the Welsh game, and then the English are also hosting Ireland. So I'll be back there for that. We've got a box there, so we host people in those boxes. But yeah, it's sort of, we thought this time last year that we'd be getting back to full steam ahead again, but I can see it being a sort of a stop-start season again. But you just got to make the best of what you've got, Nashy, as you do, swimming every morning.
Getting in the water, doing our thing, and Sean, it's. I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but we're here for Doddie, obviously, and just a quick shout out again for the 1st of January. That's when Doddie Aid starts. Sean, thank you for coming on. Thank you for downloading the app directly on this that I'll share across social media, and the guys will put that out, so you can rally the troops over in New Zealand and get people ready to run, cycle.
Nashy being here, and you mentioned Doddie's name, and everyone just loves him. Yeah, and a lot of people, haven't obviously met Doddie, but they know probably what he's doing now. They probably know him more for that in terms of raising the awareness, which is phenomenal. We're a country of 5 million, and we'll do what we can to raise a bit of money for Doddie.
Good man, thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on as always.
Okay, Nashy.